Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devin Decker, and joining me, it's my host companion, Sejan Sarowick. How are you, Sejan? I don't know where that came from. I'm so sorry.
I mean, look, man, today we are going to be talking about like a film full of non sequitur, inane humor. Like, sometimes it's not even for the joke. I don't even know why they do what they do sometimes in this movie, but I think you're good, is what I'm saying.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So to not to quibble or to waste any time, this is an excused absence episode, right? It was going to be a time capsule, but then as often when we plan these time capsule recordings, something comes up and I was away, so it was easier to record to make sure that like we had something to release to you on Monday the 15th of June. Just in case I didn't get back in time to record. So that's why we're here. And since this is going to be the trend for 2026, last time we talked about this, I said it was our theme for 1996. Apologies to anybody who was quite confused. But since it's an excused absence episode, we're continuing with the Tom Arnold Trilogy. And I gotta tell you, Sejan, before we jump further into this, there's some real fearful symmetry between the Jim Carrey trilogy and the Tom Arnold trilogy that happened 2 years later.
Yeah, I was thinking around this time about Jim Carrey while I was watching this movie because I was thinking a lot about the Cable Guy, actually.
Oh,
specifically because of specifically because of the ways in which this movie, The Stupids, and this, some really weird symmetry between them. But the way in which The Stupids utilizes cartoonish humor, which I'm sure we could then relate to The Mask, right?
Dude,
but there's those moments in
that.
Cable Guy that are dream sequences and shit like that.
Yeah. Not only the fact that we could relate it to The Mask, but The Stupids, which is the film du jour for this excused absence time capsule episode that we are recording on Wednesday, June 3rd in the year of our Lloyd 2026. This film was in the can and ready to go, but was delayed in releasing. This film was ultimately released by New Line Cinema, just like The Mask was, and it's also the only one of these three Tom Arnold films that is an adaptation. So, yeah, you'd think that the fearful symmetry would be between Dumb and Dumber and The Stupids, what with all the, I guess, just stupidity going around in those two. But no, the road trip movie that has a weird plot involving guns and kidnapping that we'll see in Carpool when we round out the Tom Arnold trilogy later this year.
I know.
That is the one that it's real strange. Big Bully is
we don't know when those are going to come, because I really want to tell people to plan a double header of Carpool followed by 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I love that. No, we'll make sure that people know before and at the start of that episode. Remind me about it. But yeah, but we're here. We're talking about The Stupids, and I mean, you'd seen this movie before. We watched it again for the show, right?
Oh yeah, I famously told, I think I've told the story here on the show, The Stupids was the movie that I remember very distinctly, and I'm sure this happened more than once, but this is the movie I remember this with, that I wasn't allowed to see, but I didn't want to let anybody know at school that I couldn't see it, because there's a lot of, and we're going to talk a little bit more about The Stupids and some of the weird ass controversies around it but I decided I didn't want anybody to know I hadn't seen it, so I just took to quoting the trailer 3 times a day, just to be, and not protest too much, right? I was probably overdoing it, and I was being super cringy about it, but I remember very distinctly this being one of the first movies that I had to kind of pretend I had seen, just so that I didn't get completely called out by shitty kids on the playground type shit. And so The Stupids has this weird place for me, because then when I eventually did get to see it, which was thankfully actually pretty soon after it had hit VHS, because I had an uncle. It's always a good uncle that does this shit, right? I had an uncle that had seen it and loved it and was like, why haven't you shown it to the kids? And my dad was like, really? The Stupids? And he was like, yeah, it's fine. And sure enough, it's actually one of the most harmless things I think that you could put out there. But The Stupids does have a little bit of a controversy behind it. It is one of the most banned books. It's in like the top 100 most banned books in school libraries all over the world, I think, or something, or all over the country.
All over the country, at least. Yeah, I don't know if The Stupids has international appeal. Is the thing I'm going to mention, and there's
like a town in like. There's like a town in the middle of China where like they worship the Stupids.
They understand the importance of the Chinese waiter. They understood in the movie the of what we do, that we deliver our menus not just to feed but to lead to the solutions.
If only we didn't have to fill these soy sauce packets.
I have to tell you, like, straight out, I enjoyed this film, like, because it's stupid fun, and I enjoy the book, right? Like, I remember this morning as we're watching The Stupids, and
there was a couple of them, weren't there?
There are four books in the series.
Four.
But I'm like, and I think it's by the guy who did Miss Nelson is Missing, which I know you did not attend my elementary school, but Miss Nelson was a teacher there. I would actually years later go on to work with her son at a job for the town. And then he was applying for a job. I think I could talk about this because it was about 20 years ago. If not, if things get shut down in the middle of this episode, I love each and every one of you. But this guy, he was interviewing for a job in Washington, and it meant that I had to sit down with like background checkers from this job in Washington, because
we had a cousin that ended up on a speech writing team somewhere, and luckily we were just far enough removed that we didn't get it, but we were called. They called and said you may, but it never happened. But yeah, that shit is weird. Yeah,
it's very strange because we would spend like 8 hours together driving around the town in a van. Like, just spend, like, you spend so much time together, and it's a job thing. We have to. So I had to like interview, like, to talk about what I knew about this guy, and legitimately what I know most about this boy, whose last name is Nelson, right? I won't say his first name. And like, we knew each other like through high school and things like that. And he was always like kind of like, you know, that kid who's like the perfect kid? I'm thinking about like the nice children from down the lane in Kids Next Door. Like he he kind of shined a little bit, this guy. If I was like the punk rock, like cool guy that everybody knew in the school, he was like the golden boy that everybody knew in the school. So the fact that like, and he was much older than me. He was like a senior when I was maybe a freshman, if not a sophomore. So like we spent some time together, but then like he had graduated from college. He was like trying to get an adult job, and like I was still in college when we like stumbled upon this job that found us alone in a van for 8 hours a day driving around Coventry. And they're like, yeah, you gotta do it. And what I knew about him is that his mother, Miss Nelson, she would always, for like the school reading night at my elementary school, do Miss Nelson is Missing. And she would dress up like the bad teacher. Like, so I'm going to talk about Miss Nelson is Missing, just brief. It is a book about, like, Miss Nelson is a very nice teacher. She's almost too nice. So the children in her class take advantage of her. So she goes out sick. Like, these are things that would never happen with the modern school system, because you ain't getting paid to do this at all. So Miss Nelson goes out sick, and she is replaced by, I need to look this up. I need to look up the name of the thing. Viola Swamp. And she comes in like a costume to be Viola Swamp, the worst teacher you could ever have.
Oh,
And
so she like Mrs. Doubtfires them.
she
Okay,
like
I
Mrs.
see what you're saying.
Doubtfires them, basically. But that's what Miss Nelson would do, is that every reading night at my elementary school, and I'm not, it's not like I kept going. My sister attended the same elementary school, so I went to 6 reading nights there. While she was a student.
All right.
And every single year, she would be dressed. Miss Nelson would be missing from reading night, and Viola Swamp would be there to read Miss Nelson is Missing. And I gotta tell you, that kind of like loses the thread a little bit for me. but like, it was like one of those things that like everybody knew, and like people looked forward to, and I just like never got it. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. I guess if you're not familiar with the book, this is kind of cool. But like, I had known that book since before, so it was just like, oh yeah, this book that I grew up with, right? It'd be like,
I don't know, man. It sounds to me like you had a teacher there that actually gave a shit. And
she
that's such a rare thing these days.
I never had her as a teacher. I think that might be part of the issue.
Yeah, no. I'm saying in front of you, like the person in front of you was.
Yes, yeah. And it was cool, right? And I don't know. I never had a teacher who gave a shit about. That's not true. I had a couple, but mostly my teachers were the villain. Like, you know how Doug, when he writes Quail Man and the teachers become the villains? Like that,
yes.
that was me, except I'm not Quail Man. I'm Devin Decker. So, what were we talking about? We're talking about The Stupids. So The Stupids, yeah, it's 4 books. And the one that sticks out to me, and the one that honestly feels like there's a whole homage to it in the movie, is The Stupids Die.
Yeah.
Where in the book, they experience a blackout in their house, and they assume that they're dead. So like, that's the thing I remember. But mostly they're kind of like, the 1974 is when the first book is published. And they're sort of like an Amelia Bedelia, but like Amelia Bedelia, like the structure of that book is very obvious. Like, Amelia Bedelia is told to do something, and then she takes it literally. Like, Amelia Bedelia, you need to babysit the children, so she sits on the children. Like,
right.
That's how Amelia Bedelia works. The Stupids is far more non sequitur with the way that these people approach the world. Like, I think the reason why The Stupids Die is the one that I have like such memories of is because it is like their stupidity is explained. Like, we see that there is a blackout, and that because of that blackout, they all assume, oh, we must be dead. There's a cause and there's an effect. And there's not a lot of cause and effect with the Stupids as characters. Which is interesting, I guess. Yeah. So
no, man, it's like so The Stupids was like this book that was not allowed in my elementary school. I remember that they specifically didn't have The Stupids in the school one, but the East Providence Public Library had The Stupids. Yeah. And this was around the time where like I was really getting into like edgy books, right? I wanted to read like The Stupids. I was reading Gym Teacher from the Black Lagoon. I had picked up at the Scholastic Book Fair that year, you know, that kind of shit. Yeah. You know, it's scary stories to tell in the dark, right? Like you start pushing your boundaries at that age, right? And I think a book like The Stupids was just like this perfect little safe space to do that. And I think that that's something that at the time parents didn't, you know, to be fair, know about, but really consider this idea that like, no, this is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a release valve, right? Like this is a way for them to literally blow up like steam so that they can laugh at something and enjoy something a little edgy while also there being it being rather harmless, right? And like for a 6-year-old, or you know, that's a huge thing, right? To have that kind of silliness be available to you, you know, and so it always annoyed me when I was a kid when I would ask for a book at the school library and I would be told they didn't have it. I didn't understand the concept of limitations. So I was just like, this library, what's the point? It doesn't ever have anything. But like Oh,
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, the Stupids are like, it's a book, and it's certainly a book that hit with our generation. The first one coming out in 1974, the last one coming out in 1989. Like, yeah, that's the thing. And it's I don't know. I mean, this movie that we're talking about, I think there are some moments in it that are fucking inspired. Like when Joan Stupid is like, oh no, so I guess let's give just the briefest of rundowns as to what kicks off this adventure.
Jessica Landi, by the way.
Jessica
I want to make
Landi
sure that we
so
recognize.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry,
because she's so good.
She is so good in this movie. So they wake up in the morning, and this is it. And the Stupids are so stupid that they sleep with their feet on their pillows and their heads under the covers. That's our introduction to the Stupids. So they wake up for the morning, and there are no children there at the start of this movie. Like, it really, like, I wondered, oh, is this, like, before they had the children? What is going to happen? Because I know, like, very famously, the Stupids, they're kind of like a stupid version of the Berenstain Bears. Except they're a lot smarter than the Berenstain Bears because they have names. Right? Mama, Papa, brother, and sister. They're the only people in the whole fucking town that don't have names. Lizzie Bruin? She's got a name. Why don't the Berenstain Bears have names, Jim? This is a real question I'm asking you. I am not just being the funny guy who's like a little upset about this. Now, why don't they have names? Like, this is.
I think because they're wild, right? Like they're supposed to be like the hill people.
Oh, so what you're saying is that Papa is possibly his own grandfather? We'll get there though. I don't want to jump too far ahead. But yeah, it's you know what? I'm taking this detour because it has to happen. As a kid, characters not having names in books really fucking bothered me. To the point that I named the man in the yellow hat in the Curious George book. Like, I knew why he's referred to as the man in the yellow hat. Because that's how George knows him. That's how George identifies him. We are reading the book from George's perspective. I got that. But I wanted that man to have a name. Because he is not just what the monkey sees him. He is a complex character. I named him Andrew. Andrew was the name of the man in the yellow hat. I was going to ask you to guess, but I just wanted to finish the story. I'm sorry. So they wake up in the morning with their feet on their pillows. And they go outside, and Joan Stupid, Mrs. Stupid, Mama Stupid, has left the garbage cans out overnight. And when Stanley Stupid, played by Tom Arnold, the reason we're here, checks the garbage cans, their garbage has been stolen. And I really hope you heard the air quotes. Because really all that's happened is that the garbage truck has come and collected the garbage.
I think that it's important, though, that before you go any further, we make sure that we paint the style of this film, because there is a very almost like Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands-y styling to things.
In their house,
like,
specifically.
Things have very bright.
Yes.
Well, okay, so this is the thing, is it's kind of in their house specifically, but like the garbage truck is like pristine and like and that sort of stuff, you know what I mean? Like they walk around the streets and there's like kids playing hopscotch and like not much else. There's almost no garbage anywhere on the streets either. Like it's like everything is just like picture perfect clean. And then you have the Stupids within that world who are very brightly colored. They're often wearing matching patterns. I love the end when they're all wearing the watermelon patterns together.
Except for freaking Buster. Buster's wearing a chicken shirt for some fucking reason. Oh, and Joan has on strawberries. Like, I love that. Oh God, I can't remember the daughter's name, or this is going to kill me. What the hell's the daughter's name?
Sorry, in the Petunia.
Petunia. Yeah, Petunia. Petunia and Stanley in the final scene have watermelons on, but Joan is wearing like a strawberry blouse, and Buster's got on a chicken shirt. I don't understand his chicken shirt. I don't get it. but we'll get there. We're there technically, but yeah. So they think that their garbage has been stolen, and Stanley is like, "In what is the world coming to? That a man's garbage is not safe." So he concocts a plan where he is going to leave the garbage cans out again overnight, and he's going to stake them out to find out who stole the garbage. And that leads him into a chase with the garbage truck when it eventually comes. I feel like you referenced this at one point, especially if you were quoting the trailer to like fit in. But that scene in the garage where he's like, I have to chase the garbage truck, and he looks at the bike and he's like 2 wheels, and then he looks at the cars and he's like 4 wheels, and he looks at the rollerblades and he goes 8 wheels. So he chooses the rollerblades because in Stanley Stupid's mind, the more wheels, the faster you are, the better you are at chasing a
I really
garbage
appreciate
truck.
you going through and explaining the jokes. Yeah,
Somebody has to.
But that's
okay.
But this is the bit, right? Is if there's a joke that they can make, this is the kind of movie that will make it. And there are a lot of really good comedies that work that way. Airplane is like the gold standard for that. There's so many jokes per minute in that movie that it's kind of like assumed that you need to watch that movie like 3 times to catch everything because you're too busy laughing over shit half the time. Like, and this movie is trying to do that same thing. It's trying to do that joke a minute move. And with that come some of the most ridiculous jokes, because he also has that one of my other favorite lines is with him in the garbage truck is him on the rollerblades after he's been sleeping on the truck and then he can't see it because it's behind him because he was sleeping on it, and he's just like, and then he finally turns around after like a good 2 minutes and he has the line, "It's always in the last place you think of looking." And I can't tell you how many times a day I say that to myself.
Well, I mean, it's funny. That one, and you know what's better is that's actually more intelligent than the "it's always in the last place you look," because then you found it, so you stop looking. But "it's always in the last place you think of looking" is like accidentally stumbling into like profound wisdom. Like that's the
Which
type
is
of
just the whole point of Stanley Stupid, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's kind of the whole, at least in the movie. I at this
Not
point
in the
we're
book.
talking specifically movie version.
Excuse me. But yes, so Stanley is out searching for the garbage truck, and then they come home. The children are there. Like Petunia's eating breakfast, and Petunia, played by Alex McKenna, and she's been in a couple of things, but like the big problematic is Buster Stupid, played by Bug Hall.
Bug. We gotta talk. I mean, he's basically, just to give everybody just a quick reference point. He's the Randy Quaid of this generation.
Yeah. Yes, that is. Wow. Sadly nailed it. And I didn't think we were going to have to like deal with the Bug Hall in the room until American Pie presents The Book of Love. But then the Stupids came along. So Buster comes home from taking his fish for a walk, which is just funny, right? Because fish don't need to go for walks. Right. I'm sorry.
But
I will stop explaining the Stupids.
But the key here is not like he didn't kill his fish. He didn't like put a leash on it and drag it out of its bowl. He literally takes the giant ass bowl and puts it in a wagon to walk it around the neighborhood. And I think it's important that their stupidity never seems, I mean, it's definitely not malicious because they're stupid. They're not intending to do these things, but it's also not nearly as pointed as it could be, because like, imagine this movie in other hands, like especially during like the 2000s when it was all about like, we got to get that PG-13 because people are going to think it's like close to an R and we'll market it like that. This movie's not trying to do any of that. This movie is so gentle in its humor that like, yeah, he's walking his fish, but it's just the fucking bowl. Just carrying that around.
I am imagining, and I do apologize because nobody can see what's going on in my head, but it is what is going on in my head. I am imagining the Judd Apatow version of the stupids. Especially because you brought up the cable guy. And yeah, it could be worse. So the kids are there, and I don't know where Joan Stupid is at this moment. Like, we don't know where the mother is. But the kids are like, oh, mom must be gone. We have to go to the police. So Petunia dictates a note to Buster to leave for the mom. So like, his dad's not home. He must have been kidnapped and we can't find mom. So we'll leave a note for mom. And it says that like, that we're going to the police. Buster's like, all right, police, because dad's been kidnapped. And then I don't remember the last part. Like, your children.
No,
your children.
Your children.
Police kidnapped your children is what he ends up, because he can't take full dictation, right? He's not a court stenographer, so he writes down the important things, which is police kidnapped your children. So then they set out to the police station, and then that's when Joan comes back. And she's like, where are my children? And she finds the note that reads, police kidnapped your children. And she's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would the police kidnap my children? And then through happenstance, the police end up calling the house to say they have her children because they walked to the police station. So she then assumes, oh my God, the police are evil. They've kidnapped my children. And she goes out to look for them and find them as the police are driving them home. So it's a lot of like ships passing at night. It's like classic farce. They could have called the film The Farces, but there is a moment. I got to talk about this moment because like there's a whole other plot that we have not even touched on yet. Like the film has a plot, which is absolutely ludicrous when you think about what the plot is.
But this set dressing is important, right? Yeah. Like Stanley Stupid has gone off chasing a garbage truck. Mom is doing whatever mom does in the morning. They show her doing some stuff, but the kids are just, again, stupid, so they don't really like look for her. If she's not in their line of sight, they're just like, oh my God, mom's gone too. And so like then you have the kids going off to the police with this whole like kidnapping story. So like this is all important because it's what leads to then the crazy ass adventure story that we then see them all go on.
Right. So, but when she sees the kids eventually after they go to the police office and they come home, the Chinese menu delivery guy, which was the thing in the 90s, like trust, they would just used to go around and put takeout menus on your door and like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to order from you because you put a menu on my door. They find that menu and they're like, oh, this must be where we have to go, the Jade Palace restaurant. And then the kids go there on their little bikes and they're served a feast. They have no money. Why are they served a feast? So they're served a feast. I mean, sorry.
Look, it's one of those things where, like, if you were in a restaurant, this is a serious question. If you were in a restaurant and you turned around and saw two little kids sitting at a table having dinner together, would you be like, where were the parents? Or would you be like, oh, that's cute?
I would be like, I really liked the film Little Manhattan. I'm going to let them have their Little Manhattan moment.
I am having some serious deja vu, so we need to move on.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so then they're like, well, I'm sure they have a message for us, and that's when the fortune cookies are brought to the table, which is time flies when you're having fun is the message in that. So they're like, oh, we have to go to the newspaper, the Times. And then honestly, some underrated stuff comes from Petunia Stupid in this movie. She's like, all right, the Times at the corner of Fun and Fly Street. And he's like, no, it's that Maple and Fifth. Like, the kids are not as stupid as the parents, but it's just so good. And she's like, it's close enough. So the kids go to this newspaper, and that's when Joan Stupid sees them walking to the newspaper, but she also sees a police officer. It's a crossing guard outside. Actually, before we go further than this moment in the film, The Stupids, she stops abruptly when she sees her kids and causes like a huge accident, like with all these cars that are unable to stop in time that hit each other, and starting with her car. But there's a crossing guard in front of her holding up a stop sign. She did the right thing. Like, legitimately, she did the right thing for the wrong reason. She stopped because she saw her kids, But then we see that there was the crossing guard in front of her with the stop sign up. All of those other drivers are at fault. I do not care. I just need to... I want to make sure that Joan Stupid is not suffering the slings and arrows of other people's stupidity. So she sees that the crossing guard is out in front, and she's like, oh no, a guard. I'll have to get a disguise. And she looks over, and she sees a wig store. And she goes in, like, perfect, and she comes out, and she's wearing a disguise made completely out of wigs. And the first question I have is, where do the stupids get their money? Because I already wondered about the kids being served a succulent Chinese feast at the Jade Palace. But then she was able to basically buy the entire stock of the wig store to construct I guess you'd call it a hair suit.
You ever hear of the concept of failing upwards? I feel like there's a lot of that going on for Stanley Stupid.
Yeah. I get that. I totally understand.
We do see him lose his job
at the post office.
By all accounts, he must have another one, right?
Or
Stupid in his straw hat.
Or maybe he's the mayor. Maybe he's the governor of this little hamlet. That's why he wears the hat.
We at least know that he's the general of Stupidia.
Yes, he is. He is the head of Stupidia's armies. Oh, jeez. But yeah, so she dresses in this beautiful, like, all hair disguise that is great. It's like, the other thing I'm thinking is like, who thought of such a funny fucking joke? Because it is such a funny fucking joke. I'm sorry.
Well, but the costuming, we haven't talked enough about how bizarre the world truly is of the Stupids, though, because you're talking about this moment with her in this costume, and it is this phenomenally made costume. She looks like she looks like what's her nuts from Willy Wonka when after she eats the blueberries and she
Violet
turns
Beauregard.
into the giant blueberry. It's like, yeah, she looks like Violet Beauregard just made out of wigs. Like she's this huge like hunky thing, and she's got a bigger wig on top of the wig that we already know Lundy is wearing, right?
Yeah.
So it's just this amazing look that is really funny, and it's like so stylized and so goofy. But this is a movie where you completely skipped over the claymation cat they introduced.
Oh, yeah,
apparently their cat and their dog named Kitty, they're in this movie portrayed in claymation in the world. Like, you know, it's clearly like post-animated, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's very, it looks very Moonwalker, which is like, hey, you know, like no shame. That shit's still fascinating. But yeah, so there's this absurdity to specifically things around the Stupids. Things are allowed to, in their atmosphere, get very weird. Right. This is to say nothing of the alien plot line that gets kind of started in all of this.
Right, we haven't gotten to that. I mean, that's why I say, like, the Stupid's home is very stylized. It looks just like it looks in the book. Like, the TV is something that sticks out, and Xylophone, their cat, and Kitty, their dog, they look like they were ripped from the pages of the children's book. Like,
right.
It's impressive.
They're purposely done that way.
Yeah, they're purposely done that way. But yeah, let's talk about the A-plot, and let's talk about how the A-plot introduces the fact that, did you know that there's a National Lampoon's Cinematic Universe season? Because I sure didn't. Because
I was going to ask you earlier if I didn't know when to bring up the fact that we're technically talking about a sequel.
Yeah, this is a sequel to Animal House. Because Colonel Niedermeyer, played by Matt Metcalf, he's back. Even though at the end of
this movie is such a movie made for me. I mean, like by bringing in guys like Niedermeyer and bringing in, I mean, even his little secondhand man there. What's his name?
Lieutenant Neil.
Yeah, Lieutenant Neil. But
Matt Kiesler,
the actor, Matt Kiesler. Yeah, like Matt Kiesler, who is like my favorite like guy to hate on. Like he always shows up as like a guy to hate on.
Yeah, no, I get it. You're not. Oh man, it is. Yeah. So so they show up. They're playing Colonel Niedermeyer, Mark Metcalf. I'm sorry, I got the Matt and the Mark there. Mark Metcalf. So Colonel Niedermeyer from Animal House is playing the same role, despite the end of Animal House. First of all, despite Animal House taking place in the 50s. I don't know when the stupid takes place. It could take place at any time, right? There's nothing that really grounds it in the fact that it is like the 90s. And we know,
I mean, it's 96, so in terms of phones, like, we're not talking about cell phones being around and shit. It's, yeah.
There's a car phone, so it has to at least be the 80s, because there is a very prominent scene where there's a car phone.
I actually do think the car phone's actually a little bit older than the 80s, though.
Oh, okay. But yeah. I think about, you're right. And also it's a military vehicle, so who knows? They had the internet 30 whole years before the rest of the world got it. And don't listen to anybody who says that they didn't, because they did. They totally did. But Niedermeyer, despite the end of Animal House saying that he was murdered by his own men, is alive and well. And he did not get his promotion, so he has decided to go full-on traitor, and he is now selling arms to the other foreign nations of the world. So,
see, I don't think it negates the end of Animal House, though. This could just be pre him going off to war.
True, that's very true. It does like that's the big argument that like he's reprising his role. However, it's just proven by the end. Animal's like, no, he could still be doing it. He just hasn't gotten killed by his own men yet. And let me tell you,
here we go, dude. World's first commercial car phone. 1946.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So it could be any time. Like, there's nothing going on in this that is totally outside of it being within that world, in that realm.
Maybe some of the weapons, but even then, not really.
Not for the military. They had that stuff, right? Like,
yeah, well, and what's even crazier is that when we get to stuff like the TV station later on, I don't know if there's anything that gets shown. Like, it wouldn't be a time of like flat screens and touch screens yet. So like everything looks pretty retro there too. This is crazy. I didn't think about this.
I'm sorry.
At all when I was watching the movie. No, I'm glad I am thinking about it. This is fucking wild. I never considered that it's kind of a movie out of time.
Yeah, I mean, totally. It's totally out of time. It never is established in any sort of time, except for the fact that there is a time travel moment in this movie, but we'll get there. I love that. That is my catchphrase this episode, and I'm sorry. But so, while Stanley follows the garbage truck to the dump, and he's like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. There's got to be thousands of people's garbage here. And nobody even knows about it. But then also happening at the dump is the arms demonstration, not the arms exchange, but like Niedermeyer's sizzle reel as like, these are all the weapons that we can sell.
It's Tony Stark moment.
Yeah, it's this Tony Stark moment.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he's talking to all these guys, and Stanley just like walks in and is part of it. So they clock him because he's this guy in this paisley blue suit with a straw hat on, and like they're like, we have an operative who's infiltrated this, and they assume that he's just like got ice water in his veins because he's not intimidated by the fact that he's surrounded by the rest of Colonel Niedermeyer's troops or anything like that. So he's like, I just need a car, because they're like, oh, we'll give you a car, and then they're like, we're gonna have him murdered. So then comes this beautiful sequence where various assassins are sent to murder Stanley Stupid because he, quote unquote, knows too much about the treason plan. And he ends up killing all of the assassins.
Accidentally.
That's true. The body count in this film is insane, though. They kill so many people in this movie.
But no, I think it's key to remember, though, to notice, though, that's not like, so for instance, the guy with the chloroform cloth that tries to come up behind him, and he's blowing air on himself from the tire machine to get to like dry off from the water machine. I've never seen one of those that dispenses water. I don't know what that was about. But,
well, it's because it's out of time. That used to be a thing.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, before like car washes, you'd do that on your windows, and then you'd run the wipers, and you do it on your tires from like any road dust and stuff that it collected.
Yeah, but he turns the air thing on, and he's just blowing it at himself. He's not in any way aiming it at the guy on purpose. And so when the guy sneaks up behind him, it's just the chloroform that guy brought to the party getting shoved into his mouth, and then he gets blown back into the tires that somehow then pop hard enough for him to fly into the air? I got a little lost on that one.
Okay, so we do see that he's got the Assassin's Creed hidden dagger. Like, he has one of those, and that's what pops the tire. As he's trying to stand up, he's not disoriented from the chloroform at all. Like, he swallowed a chloroform-soaked rag, and I'm like, oh, that guy's dead. That's what happens. If you swallow a rag that has been soaked in chloroform, you die. That's what happens in the real world. He is fine. And if I had to guess at how they justified it in the movie, they're like, the part without chloroform is the part that went into his mouth. And it's like, yeah, that's not how a chloroform-soaked rag works.
I don't think that they care to justify it.
That's true.
But like the guy is like, it is a established malicious intent, right? And then it is his own undoing. It is always their own undoing.
Exactly.
You know, like
like the Jeep guy.
Get to the end. The end gets a little crazy.
Yeah, the Jeep guy who shoots the gas tank. And then he's spilling out gas, and then he's trying to turn down the radio so he can hear his wife on the car phone, ends up popping out the cigarette lighter. He throws that, like, out the window, and it hits the gas, which causes the Jeep to, like, just get engulfed in flame. Like, they say that he took out 3 of his men, but the 3 of his, like, only one of them we see, like, quote-unquote, die. And that is the chloroform assassin. And then the last...
And we don't know. I mean, the rules in this world could definitely be that he just lands somewhere and it's just like he sees, birds floating around his head or some shit.
He swallowed a chloroform rag, Siegen, and then he got launched 20 some odd feet in the air and then came back to Earth. That guy died. I'm sorry. We never see him again. There's not anything to indicate to me that McClellan lived. McClellan dies.
I'm not really crying. I mean, he is established to be an extremely bad, dangerous man.
I mean, they try to establish it. There's that great moment where he's like, I think it's about time I get another tattoo. As if he gets a tattoo to mark any of the kills. And he shows his tattoos, and he's only got 4. And, like, let's be honest. Killing 4 people, that's a lot. That is a lot of people to have killed. But it's not like freaking...
it's 5 more than me.
Yeah, it's true. Because you saved somebody's life. I'm at -1 murders. Thank you very much. Siege and Sarah.
So I get to commit 1 murder now.
I got a get out of murder conviction free card. I landed on a chance space, and that's what I drew. I'm so sorry. I don't even know where I was going with this. Oh, like, he's not Eric Killmonger in Black Panther, who has, like, a thing on him for every life he's taken. Like, the guy's got 4. And, like, in a movie like this, like, it's like, yeah, no, this is a bad man. He's going to kill Stanley. But luckily, Stanley saves himself. So, Siegen, why don't you
I always think of Zaz in the DC stuff.
Yeah, and the check marks on his body.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The way that he does, it's it's a very tropey thing. But it's such a good bit. Yeah. So at this point, he has been taking out these assassins left and right. He has just been kind of trying to solve this mystery. I think one thing that's important to touch on that you meant that they assume that he is a very brave man, right?
Yes.
I think he is.
Oh, yes, most certainly.
In that moment, he is thinking to himself, and we're hearing his thoughts. And in his head, he's thinking, "I'm probably already dead, but it's too important to do this." Like, he is hyping himself up. He is being the hero that he shows on screen. It's as you said earlier, for all the wrong reasons. They always end up doing all the right things, but for all the wrong reasons. That's the entire bit, right? And so, like, at this point, as he is trying to escape from assassins and try and solve this plot, he starts is this when we get to Charles Sender? Is this when we get the weird...
So he... Before he arrives home, there's one moment that has to happen before. So he calls, and they're like, your father is in trouble, but we can't call the police. Like, we can't call 911. So they're like, yeah, so call 1011.
Yeah, ACAB.
Yeah. right? There's a real ACAP message in this. So like, so mom, call 1011, and she's like, no, it needs to be something higher. I'm calling 74,211. So she dials that number, and it's Floyd's Deli. And I know that this is going to be important later. And she's like...
That's my second favorite Bug Hall-related 911 joke.
The other one is obviously Little Rascals.
Exactly!
Yeah! Oh, Sejan, we've been doing this. We've known each other too long, is what it is. Right? Like... We're going to be celebrating the 20-year anniversary of X-Men The Last Stand later this month. That's how long we've known each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
But yeah, so they call this and they get Floyd's Deli. And again, she's like, oh, your husband there? You need me to take... I'll take care. Do you like coleslaw? So they order the family meal so that Floyd's Deli will come with this family meal. And then you just put that on the back burner. That happens. And then Stanley Stupid gets home. He takes a taxi home because an explosive guy blows up the car. He takes a taxi home. Another beautiful joke because he's on the lawn and he's on his knees and he's like, thank God I'm home. And he picks up like pieces of the grass and he's like kissing it. And then an old man comes out of the house and he's like, what are you doing to my lawn? And he's like, oh my God, Buster, you've gotten so old in the time that I've been gone. But like, I would like to just remind everybody that like all of the events that I have talked about over the last 45 minutes is all one day. Like, it's all one day. It's one morning. Yeah, he's right. He's right. It's one morning. So then he's like, no, I'm your neighbor next door. So then Buster comes out and he retrieves his father. And that is when Stanley tells the true story of the nefarious conspiracy theory that is going on. And it all goes back to what got him fired from the post office 2 years earlier, trying to figure out who is sender and why are we returning all of this mail to him. And we get to see what is one... I would nominate it for one of the best dream sequences ever in a movie. Like, that is how...
It goes on so long, you forget it's not just the actual plot.
And, like, real shout out to Christopher Lee. Like, just owning playing the evil sender. Like, it's so good. It's just so
he is basically Satan, right? Like, the bit is that he's playing it as if he is the devil. Like, he's in this, like, fiery pit, and the mail is all coming down around him, and he's just this... And he's in, like, 10 minutes of movie. There is, like, a whole plot within a plot that happens in this thing. And it's hilarious. It is fucking hilarious.
It's so good, and he's got these long fingernails. He does this wonderful pose. Like, I would not be surprised if Peter Gabriel, which is not his name... CJ, who did the Lord of the Ring movies? Peter Jackson.
Oh,
if Peter Jackson cast him as Saruman because of his job in The Stupid. As freaking sender.
I mean, dude, considering what we know about Peter Jackson,
that's exactly why.
Isn't that far off?
Yeah,
right.
Like, that's why I feel comfortable saying that, because like, it just totally feels like it would fit. So he's this whole thing, and he details this whole thing about how, like, we're gonna steal the garbage because nobody will miss the garbage, and then when there's no garbage, people will think, where are our things, the things we had? Like, it's this beautiful thing. So then they're like, we have to go after Sender, because Petunia finds a Sender in the phone book. Remember phone books? That used to be how we found people. Right? There's no internet in this movie. There is internet. There's a computer. There's a computer scene in this, but it could also be like, it's 80s technology. There's the whole thing. Because we haven't even talked about the aliens, Sejan. The aliens who are pilots of an alien star cruiser picking their noses.
In trying to find their father, right? The kids meet back up with mom and they break into a news station.
A newspaper.
Not quite sure why.
A newspaper. Well, because the fortune cookie told them to go to the newspaper.
Oh, right.
While they're
so
there,
they go to the newspaper, and that's where they find mom. Yeah. And then while
mom finds them.
they hack a computer.
Yes. They hack a computer, which is not, they didn't have to hack it. It was just open. So what they type
Social engineering, buddy.
Yep,
it's all part of the hack.
Sejin, it wasn't locked. They didn't have to hack the computer. It was open. It was just an open computer. We didn't know about locking computers when you step away from your workstation in whatever.
But there is a theme that is developing, though, that I think is really important, because it is one of the few criticisms I truly have about anything in this movie from a artistic standpoint. There is definitely more criticisms to be had from a reality standpoint, but but from an artistic standpoint, I have a real issue with how often they lean on making the kids smart. There's a couple of moments where the kids step in. You mentioned the phone book, right? Yeah. And then Petunia also is the one that gets on the computer. Yes, she does dumb things while she's on it, but the idea of getting on the computer and getting into it and the internet will tell us these things. She clearly has at least a logic to what she's doing, right? There's just all of these moments where, again, they're doing all the wrong things, but all the right things, just for all the wrong reasons. So they're trying to find their father, who isn't really missing, but then they end up creating a whole news headline about two alien pilots picked their nose.
Yeah, because originally, HBO had picked up. First of all, I'd like to talk about who the reporter is. That is I need a headline for HBO picking up two new sci-fi series. It's Gurinder Shadha, writer and director of Bend It Like Beckham. Gurinder Shadha is just in this movie. And she's I need it. So then her editor comes over and he's how about this? Two aliens picked up by network. Two alien pilots picked up by network. That's what the headline was. But when the stupids are hacking the computer, they change it to two alien pilots pick noses. And then they changed the byline to Stanley Stupid. So then the aliens are we're going to get this guy. How did he know we pick our noses? How did he print it? How did the aliens get the newspaper, Jim? I want to know how the aliens get the fucking newspaper.
Well, it was given to them by their alien stewardess.
Oh, yes.
That's in the movie, definitely. But
where did the alien stewardess... How did it wind up on the spaceship? You knew what I was asking, you son of a... No.
Oh man! Yeah, so I don't know, but somehow the picture. How does the newspaper get the picture? Because they do feed a picture of him into the computer.
The logic of Hollywood, because they're to find out we should put a picture of him into the computer, and they enter it into a floppy disk drive, which destroys the drive, but also somehow puts the picture into the computer to use in the. I mean, look. I'm saving it for later. I'm saving it for after, because whatever. So they find a sender in the phone book, and he works at the museum, which is closed. And this is where this is the moment where I'm man, this would have made a good beat 'em up game, a la the Simpsons beat 'em up game. I would have fucking loved to play this with three of my friends at the arcade. The stupid,
and they end up. Is it all within the planetarium, or is there just that scene in the planetarium?
So they go into it it's a museum that has multiple floors. So Petunia and Stanley go one direction, and Joan and Buster go the other direction. Joan and Buster find Sender's office, while the papa and sister of the family, just to keep the Berenstain Bears alive, they wind up in a planetarium. And the lights go out just for no reason. The lights go out in that planetarium for no reason. And then Petunia finds a button that turns on the actual projection of space within the planetarium. And that is when they assume that they have died. That dangerous men are after us because we are trying to uncover this conspiracy theory. They got us. And now we're in heaven. This is heaven. And they meet a kindly janitor played by Frankie Faison. Love me some Frankie Faison. Whose name is Lloyd. And they assume that they've just been saying Lord wrong the whole time because they think that Lloyd is God. These are all words I'm saying into a microphone. But then after they find Sender's diary, which is what we used to call like appointment books. We call them diaries for anybody who doesn't work in an office. And they're like, oh, so we know where he's going to be. But then Buster finds an elevator, and he thinks that because it has a clock above the doors and a control panel with numbers and letters on it, that it is a time machine. So he puts
while Papa Bear and Sister Bear are over
in heaven,
fantasy adventure, they get a sci-fi adventure on this side of the museum.
Yeah, because he hits all the buttons, and then he hits BC, and then his mom rushes to join him, and they wind up in like what is a prehistoric exhibit. Like there are dinosaur skeletons and like primitive man, which like some beautiful jokes in that, because he's like, oh look, it's primitive man, and he picks up one of the like tools, and he's like, their tools seem to be made of some primitive form of styrofoam, which is just wonderful. And then a rare moment of lucidity from Joan Stupid. Buster, you have to be careful. Anything we do in the past could have drastic effects on the future. And that's when Buster gets drunk with power, pulls out one of those markers that Ben Affleck uses in The Accountant. Remember those markers from The Accountant? They're beautiful markers. And he writes his name in the prehistoric cave dwelling that is just an exhibit at the museum, and goes on this rant about how the world will now know him because of what he's done. Drunk on power. It is just insane. It's just this insane moment. So the fantasy adventure, Lloyd says he's going to give them a second chance. He's going to return them to where they are. Just go out that exit door and you'll be back at your car. Meanwhile, they get back into the time machine and wind up there. They all meet up, and they're like, oh, so we have to go to this TV station. And it's Channel 3, which makes me smile because it's a New Line Cinema film, and Channel 3 is where April O'Neil works in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. And if this is a sequel, what? It's all connected. It's all connected.
All connected.
Oh my goodness. So they wind up at the thing, and now we get to have a mother-daughter adventure and a father-son adventure. The mother and the daughter wind up. Oh, where did they
it is very obviously this kind of pairing off and switching, though, for them to all play off of each other.
Yeah.
And I actually really like it.
Works.
It's very simple from a filmmaking standpoint, but also very effective when you're doing this kind of comedy, right? Like, so but it is very clear that they're doing this so that they can be switching off and doing all these various bits off one another.
I would like to just point out to you, Sejin, that there was a part of my mind the whole time I watched this film that could not shake that, like, American Dad is based on The Stupids. Not necessarily the film, but the characters in the ways. Because, like, you talk about, like, it's easy to, like, just pair people off, but, like, that's what The Simpsons does. That's what Family Guy does. Like, it is a basis
Modern
of
Family.
comedy, and they get all of the pairings get to happen in this movie. Like,
That's right. It's going to be a Meg episode. Buckle up.
But yes, and with the father named Stanley and wearing a blue suit, these are the thoughts that I just could not shake from it. And being like a dangerous government operative, think about it. No, but so they pair off. I don't remember what Petunia and Joan end up doing at the television station, because I had never seen this full movie before watching it 2 hours ago in order to record this episode. The only thing I knew about the Stupids was the dad, Father Stupid, on a TV show singing I'm My Own Grandpa. So, like, I'm like, oh, they're going to a TV station. That's got to be when this happens, right? That must be what happens. Oh, the mother and the daughter wind up at the late night show where Jenny McCarthy... Yeah. Remember Jenny McCarthy? She's cousins with Melissa McCarthy. Her father, and Tori Spelling and all that other stuff. Aaron Spelling. She's a big deal. She's talking on this late night show that's filming in the afternoon, because that's how they do it, about how devastated she was that her show got canceled. And Petunia's got two modes: being the smartest person in the room and flipping switches. And she is flipping the switch for the applause sign this time, which is causing the audience to erupt in applause whenever Jenny McCarthy just says, like, the saddest stuff, where, like, applause is inappropriate.
Yeah. There's a lot of people willing to take hits in this movie, and I really enjoy that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like the being able to happily be the butt of the joke, I think, is something that I really admire in a lot of performers when they're willing to do it.
So they find Sender, the man named Sender, and he's like, they hear his plan. And at that point, Stanley is again captured because Colonel Niedermeyer sees him on the TV singing "I'm My Own Grandpa." He has his men
Remember that plot line?
Remember that, like, there's an arms deal that Stanley witnessed, and they thought he was dead because his car blew up. Nope, he's alive and singing on TV with, like, an actual talk show host who was only credited as talk show host. Like, Rolanda Watts was a talk show host at the time that this movie was made and at the time of this film's release, but she is not credited as known talk show host. Like, they go on to Rolanda's show. It's crazy. So they're captured, and he's on the military base. That's what causes the creation of the sovereign country of Stupidia, where Joan Stupid is the president because she is the smartest member of the family. Those are real words that are said. The smartest members of the family are the dog Kitty and the cat Xylophone, because they keep the stupids from dying. That is literally what they do in the book. Like, it's almost like Schnookums. It's not Schnookums and Meat. It's Buttons and
Courage
Mindy.
the Cowardly Dog is what I think of.
Courage the Cowardly Dog is going. But I was thinking Buttons and Mindy from Animaniacs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Silly doggy.
Yeah, silly doggy. Buttons chases Mindy while Mina plays the Zack. Yeah. So, yeah, we all know what's going on. But, yeah. So, he escapes from that, and he gets the knowledge that the deal is going down at Warehouse 21. So, the stupids arrive at Warehouse 21, and just a fight scene erupts with, like, guns and grenades and giant crates being thrown around and blowing up. Eventually, you take it.
You got this is an important moment, because this is pretty much the climax of the film, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're getting, this has all been building to this moment where the stupids as a whole, the stupids are going to get into the fray here and, like, just fuck some shit up. But before they do that, Tom Arnold in his I still don't know where I land on him as an actor, man. We're gonna have to address this in a moment here, but he does deliver a hell of a moment when he talks about the idea that sometimes you just have to believe that because right's on your side, you have a chance. Like, this whole idea that, like, all these guys have guns and weapons, and, like, they're just, like, four people that stumbled into this, and, like, it's Buster that's saying this to him, right? Like, he's like, I don't know why, like, I don't know if we could do this, Dad. And, like, he delivers this really important moment where he talks about this idea that as long as you're doing the right thing, things will work out. And that is the entire ethos of the stupids, of them, specifically of the characters, is because they are consistently always trying to do the right thing. What they end up doing is okay.
Because they are constantly
it's a weird superpower.
The avatars of stupidity, Lloyd Christmas and Harry, I don't remember his last name from Dumb and Dumber, Harry Dunn, his name is Harry Dunn, they look favorably upon the stupids. Because they are avatars of stupidity. They are the patron gods that keep the stupids surviving. I'm saying there's a chance.
Unfortunately, this movie gets compared to Dumb and Dumber too much, I think.
I agree.
A lot of the stuff that I was reading, because, like, it was 2 years after it, and there is a lot of stuff to be said about the similarities, but, like, I don't know. I will take I will take another swing at a road comedy any day. Like, that's not the shit they make anymore, and I miss it.
Yeah. Apparently, Broad Trip on the Roku channel is a road comedy that just released this year. Talk to your brother about that one. He has been talking my ear off about it. I mean, granted, in episodes of Stay Report Jr., but still, like, they're all about, like, it's a road comedy, and they don't do those that much. So you're not the only one who's noticed that they're missing. But yeah, so I think, well, if we're going to talk about it, we are like, in the hands of somebody else, this could be very mean. Like, I think that's what people expected from the Stupids, is that they wanted it to be Dumb and Dumber. The difference is that Dumb and Dumber is made for adults. This movie was made for 10-year-olds, right? John Landis very famously said, this movie was made for 10-year-olds, and nobody seemed to understand that. Nobody seemed to understand that I was making a movie for children.
And I think when he's saying that, I do think what he's talking about is, reception wise, but I think he means on his side of making the movie, that it seemed like nobody who marketed the movie understood that. It seemed like nobody who wanted, like, it was like nobody understood that it was a children's film from the get-go, and that just kind of doomed it. And like, it's unfortunate. He does also talk about it doing okay
on video, on home video, because
on video and TV, right? Like, it ends up getting a lot of play on television
because of cool uncles who bought it for their kids, for their nephews.
Exactly. Yeah, and ABC Family, Fox Family.
Yeah, again, Freeform. Like, I saw the "I'm my own grandpa" scene. I don't know why I said it like that, but I saw that scene because it was just on cable television one afternoon. Like, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like, maybe I'll watch this someday. But this seems to be near the end of the movie. So the bad guys are captured in the warehouse. Niedermeyer gets away by pretending to be a marshal and throwing his man under the bus. He says that he's the ringleader of everything. The Stupids return home thinking that everything's good. They've taken care of it. But there's Colonel Niedermeyer. And he's going to shoot Stanley Stupid in the head because I'm tired. I'm tired of what you've done. And who shows up in less than an hour, 53 minutes of the runtime to save the day? Floyd's Deli Delivery Man. He opens the door, crushes Niedermeyer, knocking him out, and he also delivers the food. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful moment. Mm-hmm. And this movie is so good at, like, setup payoff. Like, it sets up so many punchlines, and every time they come to fruition, it is fun. It's just, I don't know, like, it's a fun, stupid movie, and I like it, right? And again, it's for children. It's a children's movie. And, like, we talk about...
And not to mention that there's something to be said for, like, it's what it says on the tin.
It is stupid.
Like, the movie is called The Stupids. You know whether or not you're in or you're out right from the get, right? Like, so, like, if it's not your bag, you don't watch it. But, like, if that sounds silly to you, watch this movie, because it is quite silly.
Yeah. So there's one scene that we skipped over, and it's because of Sejan's question of, I don't know how Tom Arnold is as an actor. And it's this moment where they can't get the car started, and it's because he doesn't have the keys. So he gives mouth to mouth to the battery of the car, and the electric shock grants him insight, and he realizes how absurd. And he has another monologue that is him just
with the John Landis special, by the way, with the animated electricity.
Yes.
Reminded me of some Gremlins 2 shit going on.
Yeah. So he's flashing and he's glowing. And he talks about the entire plot of the movie and just how absurd it is. Like, which is like the moment for the adults to, like, realize, like, this is how stupid this movie is, and we understand that. We know what we're doing. It's not for you, it's for the children. And then the best part about this whole, like, deconstruction of the plot as it has happened so far ends with him like, oh, insight fading. I have to remember to tell the family about this revelation. And then he, like, snaps back to it, and his wife goes, what was that you had to remember to tell us? And he's like, I don't remember. And they move on with the movie. But,
So
in terms of, like, very famously, Tom Arnold, while making this movie, he would get so frustrated and he would, like, stop scenes and he'd look at Landis and he's like, is this supposed to be funny? Like, that's his question. And I think about, now that we've looked at Big Bully and The Stupids, that, like, that's what he was doing on Big Bully too, was, like, constantly questioning the movie while they were making it. Now, with Big Bully, I think that he had some legitimate complaints, because they took... Go listen to the episode. Go listen to What the Sam Hill. I deconstructed, and in a very intelligent way. I don't think I have any intelligence left after watching The Stupids. And that's not a bad thing. It's just where I'm at after watching this movie. I can't remember what I said, like, 4 months ago, and, like, coherently relate it to you again. All of that said, that, like, when Tom Arnold has a scene that he understands, he is fire. But, like, his protest, like McEnroe, when he doesn't like a scene, is to, like, somehow give negative effort. And it's disappointing. Because clearly the man knows how to act. Like you said, with that whole speech at the end about, like, we're going to be okay because we have good on our side. We're the good guys. Or his whole speech that is a fatal deconstruction of the plot of this movie, right? Like, what a dangerous banger of a thing to put into your film as the break into 2, essentially. Is a character looking at the screen, communicating to you, the audience, how ridiculous everything you've seen up to this point has been.
There's a lot of barreling down the camera in this movie too, which I adore a good mugging. When it comes to comedy,
yeah, we all watched Malabana together in Cuban cinema class, Sejin, and I got mad. Like, don't you fucking look at me about how many times you're having sex in a year, like 1 million fucks. And he like, don't fucking look at me. Don't look at me, MacGruber. No, don't look at me, Greg Kinnear. I don't want to be looked at when I'm watching you. I'm watching you. You don't watch me. No, there's a lot of mugging in this movie, and it works. So, Sejin, I have to ask a question before we continue. This is our break into 3 moment. Are we in charge of Howdy? Do we run the Howdy channel on Roku?
It's future us's, maybe, yeah.
Because in addition to Mrs. Winterbourne and the Twilight of the Golds being on Howdy, the fucking Stupids is on Howdy. And you know what the color scheme of Howdy is? It's a yellow background with red letters.
Maybe it's somebody who listens. Hey, if you're listening.
Thank you. Thank you, listener, who is in charge of Howdy. We appreciate you. Devin and Sejin Go, the movie. Let's do it. Let's do another road film with us. But I had to ask.
A Howdy original.
A Howdy original film. And it starts out with us singing the Jackass song that was not used for Jackass or for Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. All right. So I guess at this point, what do we do? What do we do with the thing? I like.
You were going to ask
movie.
me a question. What were you going to ask me?
CJ, what I was going to ask you is, CJ, what do we do now? Like, where are we at with this movie? Like, first of all, I recommend this film to anybody. I think it is worth at least one watch in your life. I think that some of the performances, Jessica Landi specifically, is worth the price of admission. All of the other Landisisms that happen in this are beautiful. Like, really, and Tom Arnold, right? Like, it's crazy that we're doing this. The fact that this is part 2 of our Tom Arnold 1996 trilogy, and I'm telling you right now, we have 2 more movies that we're going to be looking at next year that turn this trilogy into a quintology, right? Write down in the comments what you think those are, because I know. And I'm
probably not hard to figure out.
Yeah, no, it's especially if you're following along at home. But like, he won the Razzie for worst actor as a tie for his performances in Big Bully, The Stupids, and Carpool.
He was the only one nominated, right? It was him 3 times nominated, and then they gave it to him across the board.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like, and they tied it. I think so. Let me look at the 3 wins and nominations. He actually tied with Pauly Shore for Pauly Shore's performance in Biodome.
Biodome, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, man. I was just talking about that movie with somebody the other day. I was talking about that moment where they build the filter out of all of the cigarette filters and how stupid it is, but
it works.
still sticks with me. Still fucking sticks with me.
That movie still sticks with me, and I feel terrible about it every time. But like Walter Peck is the bad guy. It's a sequel to Ghostbusters.
Just because
thank you, I'll show myself out. No,
oh man.
But like, how do you feel about
we
this
didn't
like
we didn't talk about some of the other Landis stuff that goes on in this, because you mentioned Chada, right, as the reporter, but David Cronenberg shows up. He's the guy that fires him at the Postal Service.
Yeah,
so like there's like a lot of that sort of stuff, and so for anybody that doesn't know, John Landis is very much a guy that he's a guy that makes movies for people who like movies. A lot of his movies are heartfelt homages to classics in a lot of ways, or at least classic techniques and stuff. He's a very big fan of practical effects. He's the guy that does American Werewolf in London. Like, if you really want to get schooled in Landis, just go watch American Werewolf in London. And that basically is like a blueprint for how he approaches all of his future films. You know, I mentioned already he does Gremlins 2, which I love. But he also, like, you know, he's got some weird stuff about him. You know, he famously
doesn't
was
do Gremlins 2. What are you
Polanski
talking
apologist.
About? Sorry.
What's up?
He doesn't do Gremlins.
Does he not do Gremlins 2?
No.
Who does Gremlins 2?
I'm pretty sure it's the guy who does Gremlins, which I wish I could remember his name right now. Steven Spielberg found him. The guy who did Looney Tunes Back in Action does it. What the heck is his name?
Joe Dante.
Joe Dante, yes.
Joe Dante. I was confusing him and Joe Dante.
And I understand why. It makes perfect sense. Like,
yeah. Joe Dante is the one that ends up doing Bubba Hotep, right? Isn't that his whole trajectory?
Oh my goodness. I was not prepared for Joe Dante trivia in this. No, it's fine. I'm looking it up right now. I love Joe Dante.
Chris Columbus does the first one, by the way.
Does the first Gremlins?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I did not realize that. Yeah, what the heck? What did you say he does that I should know?
Also starring Christopher Lee.
Yeah, I love Christopher Lee. He's crazy. What movie?
Joe Dante. I'm pretty sure Joe Dante is the one that does Bubba Hotep, and I think he might have also produced John Dies at the End, which is another super weird one I love with Paul Giamatti.
So I don't see him doing Bubba Hotep. I'm sorry.
Okay, it must be.
He did Small Soldiers. I remember that. Who did
Small
Bubba?
Soldiers is great.
I love that movie. I can't wait till it's time for us to look at that one. Bubba Hotep is directed by Don Coscarelli.
No, is there like a producers or anything like that?
So I can get to it, and see who does that. So there's a really good chance of all cast and crew. Let's go to there's director, writer, cast. Where do we get to like the production? Producers. Dak Coscarelli, Don Coscarelli, and Jason R. Savage are the producers on that film.
Okay, Coscarelli. I gotta look into them then too. Yeah. So there's like this class of directors that I clearly get confused with. You know, all understandably look the same to me. But like where they kind of have this whole old Hollywood style to them. So what I was saying is like with that comes some really unfortunate shit about old Hollywood, right? Landis was one of the people who famously in like the late 2000s was still backing Roman Polanski, which is not a great look. And then there's also like he was the director of the scene in Twilight Zone where they had the big accident, or is that also somebody else? No, that's him. He
was also behind that one. So like the big problem that people have with John Landis is from Twilight Zone the movie, like everything that happened on that. He also directed the Thriller music video. If we want to talk about like things that like he did. Sejan,
because of Werewolf, because of American Werewolf in London, right?
Yeah. Do you know what movie he directed immediately before The Stupids?
John Landis. No, it was probably one of his more serious ones, yeah.
It was Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Beverly Hills Cop 3?
Yes.
3?
3! Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Did he happen to do 2 or
no,
something?
No. They brought him in for 3. Such a weird movie. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is one of those movies that like got cut to shit because people were like, nobody wants to see a 3-hour Axel Foley movie, John. But he's like, no, they do. They want to see it. And do you know what film he follows the stupids up with?
No. What is it?
Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh,
historically released in 1998. So like,
yeah.
It was the 90s were a rough time for him. However, in 1999, he directed one of my favorite episodes of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. Which is season 3,
I don't think
episode
that John Landis
1.
is a bad director.
No,
I
really
don't think that it's about John Landis being a bad director. He's got a vision. He sticks to it. It's always very clear. Like he's really good at communicating characters like just through his direction, which is really impressive. I think that he is so up the ass of old Hollywood, not even old Hollywood, like mid Hollywood, really, because we're talking about like the 70s and 80s really is where is the guys that he learned from. You know, he's so in that kind of boys club mentality about things that like he doesn't end up working with the best people. He doesn't end up taking on the best projects. He doesn't like his the only thing that he seems to be able to nail is the actual art of direction. But he doesn't seem to be able to like figure out the rest of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like him. I like him more than his son. Like, no offense to Max Landis, who is in this movie. He's the kid doing the graffiti, writes sharks on the wall before it gets covered in white paint. That just covers it up. That is Max Landis. You know,
but what's the line? He has that line. Like the nerve of some people or something.
Yeah, the nerve of some people. Like, I was doing graffiti. How dare you? How dare you cover it up?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's oof. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a movie, and it's Landis. So like, there is some squishy bits about it. Sejan's not wrong. And certainly Bug Hall and everything. Like, I don't want to get into it on this. We're talking about the Tom Arnold of it all. We're celebrating his 3-movie year. But, like, we'll talk about Bug Hall probably in American Pie Presents The Book of Love, or we won't. But, like, yeah, I was surprised to see Bug Hall in a movie when I sat down for the stupids, because I knew Jessica Lundy and I knew Tom Arnold in this one, and I knew that like I really liked him singing "I'm My Own Grandpa." It is funny. It is very funny.
I also, I want to give shout out to Alex McKenna as Petunia, because like she really is like so fantastic. Good. She clearly knows what she is doing in that role. Whether or not the script is doing her any favors can be argued sometimes, but like on the whole, she owns that role. Like, so we talked about how things get kind of out of hand in the last moments, right? One of the examples of that is as there's this huge firefight going on around her, Petunia just wanders through. She finds a box of grenades and likes the shiny ring on one of them, pulls it out and puts it on her finger, and then just tosses the grenade, killing probably about 6 men, I think.
Yeah, like seriously, I'm not kidding. The body count in this film is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do you know?
Oh, I didn't know McKenna was doing video game work now.
Oh, yeah,
she was just in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's sick.
She plays CJ Rottweiler in the Doppelganger episode of Recess.
That's amazing. What a good pull. Oh shit.
But yeah, so I mean, this movie, I liked this film. I think it's worth checking out if you have the opportunity. If you have Howdy or
kids.
Like, what's that?
If you got kids, this is a great movie.
It's
like when they're in that like 10
kids.
to 11 range where they want to. I was just talking about this where like you feel like you're getting away with something edgy, right? Like you give them that. this movie is a really like easy way to get into that. You know, the edgiest I think I was allowed to get at that age in house was like Roger Rabbit, maybe, which to be fair gets pretty fucking dark at the end. But like that was about the extent of it. Like Mickey was still there watching over me, you know.
Meanwhile, I at 92, 6 years old was taken to see the film Cuffs. And let me tell you, that's a formative moment in the life of Devin Decker, is watching Christian Slater as Cuffs. PG-13 when PG-13 still meant some nudity was allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, man. Or like School Ties. Like my mom taking me to see School Ties and then taking me to the diner. But yes, so The Stupids. It's a film. It's got, you know what? Just for the fact that it is a semi-sequel to Animal House. Like, that right there makes it enough of a movie worth watching for me. The absurdity of it, it's a well-built, like, honestly, I'm not kidding. The dream sequence that, like, is a whole, like, that's the true second act of this movie. Like, I say that his moment of insight is, like, the break into two, but that's in a 3-act structure. That dream sequence is so involved. And it's so well.
No, this is more Shakespearean. I think you could break this down into a 5-act one, right? Like you have you have all of the build, you have the dream sequence, then you have the revelation and the move forward, then you have that weird planetarium scene, and then finally.
Well, no. So you have the setup, you have the dream sequence, you have the museum, you have the TV station, and then you have the warehouse.
The TV station.
Yeah, right? Like, might even be a 6-actor, right? It might be like one of Shakespeare's histories. But yeah, I mean, it's, and, you know, and again, it's, the thing that emerges is that I like Tom Arnold in Big Bully. I like him in a lot of things that I see. I think like other roles that I've seen him in, I enjoy him. I really like him in True Lies. I like when he reprised his role in the True Lies television show. Like, there's some good stuff that he does. But what we've noticed so far in 1996 is these were movies that he did not understand or did not, like, was at odds with the director. And, like,
I think, though, this is I don't want to come, this sounds really, I'm not going to say it this way. I'm going to rethink this. He is very funny, right? Like, he's a stand-up comedian. He's got a really good career. I really love watching him on TV, especially he does a lot of sports commentating is really where I see him more than anything. I see him a lot at bars. Like, while I'm sitting at bars, I see Tom Arnold on the TV a lot. Like, that's kind of the way that I take him in in the majority of the time with him. Mm-hmm. So, like, I know that he has the ability to be funny, and clearly 1996 was that moment where this is, as we saw happen with Jim Carrey all those years earlier, something sparked. He was kind of rising up in the consciousness, and this was their attempt to see if they could make it happen, right? This was a studio, this was an agent, this was somebody was behind him saying, look, we just gotta get you to work, man. We just gotta get you to work. And him not understanding it, I think, is just by the nature of, he was probably too green and, like, unfortunately didn't have the right person nearby to be like, rethink this one. Like, and without that, you know, you stumble, you know, and you make some bad choices, and then you can't really come back from some of this. Like, I don't doubt that there were jobs he lost because the Stupids underperformed so poorly, because it does go on to underperform. I don't know if we made that clear. $25 million proposed budget from everything that I can find. It barely makes $3 million by the time it's done. Like, it is a flop amongst flops. And Big Bully wasn't doing him any favors already. Like, at least it had some conversation around it, especially because it was Rick Moranis coming back, right? Hadn't he been retired for a couple of years at that point?
No, it's the last one before he retires. Big Bully is his last movie before he retires from live action. Because, like, he does like Brother Bear. He does a lot of voice stuff. But that was, I believe that's his last live action.
Well, that's because it's him and Dave, right? Isn't it him and Dave Thomas?
Yeah, it's him and Dave Thomas who are the two moose.
Such a good pull.
So
it's like when Cars has the brothers there, the Car brothers from Boston.
Yeah, exactly. It's brilliant casting. And again, and you know, voice work, it's not as involved as like he was still able to be there with his kids after the pets, because that was like, that's what Big Bully turned into. And the crazy thing to me is, right, that like the fearful symmetry that we've noticed so far as we've gone through 2 parts of the Tom Arnold trilogy and can compare it to the first 2 parts of the Jim Carrey trilogy, is that Ace Ventura hits the way it hits, and that's why New Line is like, we can finally release the mask, right? Like, we didn't know what to do with this, but now that everybody's like craving Jim Carrey, we'll release the mask, and people will go see the mask just because Jim Carrey is in it. Big Bully happened, and then like New Line's like, oh, now it's time to release the Stupids?
Yeah.
It's been interesting. And I will admit this, the only one of this trilogy that I have seen start to finish is Carpool. So I am interested in revisiting Carpool next month. Well, not next month. Next excused absence time capsule episode when we finish off the Tom Arnold trilogy.
Yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting one, because out of the 3 of these, it is the one I think I've seen the least. Although I remember for the longest time that Showcase Cinemas in Seekonk, the one that was down by the Target, that one had just opened up when this movie came out, and I think like I also remember National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation. But the big thing that I remember about them were they were the first time I had ever seen giant cardboard cutouts, and I don't know why the giant cardboard display that they chose to put up was one from Carpool. That sticks in my memory as like a core memory about movie marketing.
I mean, the really crazy thing is that like the Stupids and Carpool also came out right on top of each other. They both released in August of that. Oh, that was a crazy thing. Is that there's the moment with the white paint that destroys Max Landis's graffiti. It's because Joan Stupid is talking into the garage door opener like it's a mini tape recorder, and this movie takes place on June 4th. And we're recording this on June 3rd. And I know that, like, it could be creepier if it were actually June 4th. But, like, that's still pretty close. I gotta say, it did give me, like, a whole. Also, did you happen to see the name of the person who plays the French chef? Because that was weird.
The guy that they, like, bring on the fat guy.
Yeah, give it to the fat guy.
I don't.
His name, let me see if I can find it, because I want to read it. Is Frederick Devanecker.
No.
Yes. Devancker. Devanecker. That's my name. I'm Devanecker.
Yeah, it's like if you like sneezed in the middle, but yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's just crazy. It was just ridiculous. I don't know, it was fun. I had fun with this movie, I really did. Then, you know, the whole Lloyd thing, like, I don't know, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Anything else that you want to say? I think we're good on this one. I think that, I don't know, like, the aliens do come, and he lights them on fire, and then, Sejin, they teleport back to their ship, they bring the fire with them. Their ship's gonna be destroyed. I feel bad for those little aliens picking their noses with their gross 4-fingered hands. Let's be honest,
dude,
they're
they
gross
showed up to start a
4-thumbed
fight.
Hands. What'd you say? What'd you say?
They showed up to start a fight. They also deserved it. That's
true, right? Because again, on the side of good, the Stupids, they're as American as apple pie and twice as smart, according to the poster. I'm sorry.
But man,
I get the hiccups.
just the costume work, the claymation, like the the makeup, like work that goes into like the aliens is really good. Like there's just, it's all for such a silly purpose, but that is almost the joke, right? Like that is what that's the funniest part about it, is how many people were just on board with making this movie. It's just unfortunate that the only person that wasn't is your main dude, is your main
guy.
actor.
Yeah. And I don't know. And we'll see what happens when we get to Carpool. I guess the last thing to mention here is that Tom Arnold has gone on record multiple times in multiple interviews as saying he made $5 million to be in this movie. So like that $25 million, like 5 of that is apparently Tom Arnold's salary. And
yeah, I mean he hit really big with I mean him and Roseanne, right? Weren't they like kind of like a pair at that time? Like
they get divorced in 1994. And when he is unburdened by her, so they get divorced, he does True Lies. And it's really True Lies that seems to be the thing that kind of like casts the spotlight on him as somebody who
I think he's very well aware of, which is why he comes back to the role, right?
Right. Yes. But then he's also in Transmorphers, so who the hell knows what he's doing? But yeah, Tom Arnold. I don't know what to tell you.
The best Tom Arnold story I know is from Paul F. Tompkins, and he tells it better, but he tells this amazing story about Tom Arnold being not a heckler, but definitely interrupting his show. Go look up the Paul F. Tompkins Tom Arnold bit, because it's probably it's the funniest story I've ever heard involving Tom Arnold. So it's unfortunate, because I do think he does have some pretty funny stand-up from back in the old days. You know, you could take it with a grain of salt, Dangerous Banger and all that, like it is from 15, 20, 30 years ago. But like, and I think that he has some pretty funny takes when it comes to just some silly sports shit and stuff. So like, he's found his niche, I think. And I think that was what the problem was that 1996, we are watching this man try and force himself into a mold that he just unfortunately isn't meant for. And, you know, like, I think that him finding himself doing this stuff later in his career that he's been doing has been cool, because like, good, like I'm glad to see that we didn't, you know, if somebody failed as hard as he failed in 1996, in 2026 we'd never see that person again. They'd be done, right? His ability to not be done, to keep being able to push forward and work, I think is a product of its time, but it also shows that, like, you know, the dude does like working.
I mean, it's certainly a product of the time, because we were seeing, it's like the golden age of comedians becoming television stars or movie stars.
Well, right, because
so,
Seinfeld,
like,
right?
Yeah,
Seinfeld hit so big. Yeah. And stand-up comedy, I think it's also important to remember, is that stand-up comedy was also dying in the 90s. Like, the 90s were like a dry spell for stand-up comedy, because it was so big in the 80s, and then basically the second cocaine goes out of vogue, stand-up comedy goes down fucking hill in terms of popularity. So getting onto a TV gig was also something that everybody needed to do. Like, it wasn't just a want at some point. It was like, I am going to be a stand-up comedian so I can get a TV show, becomes kind of the thought process throughout the 90s.
Most assuredly. Like, that's it. I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm going to, like, there are a bunch of shows that are about that. Like, I'm going to go out there and see if I can get a pilot. Like, they want
the first Louis C.K. show is in the 90s, I think.
Yep.
Right? Life with Louis.
Well, but then, like, not Life with Louis. Is it just Life?
No, it's
like Life with Louis is Louis Anderson.
Oh, that's Louis Anderson. But that's another example of a comedian that, you know.
Yeah, it was that thing, like Lisa Ann
Steve
Walters.
Guttenberg had camp. What was? Didn't Steve Guttenberg do the camp show? Camp
Candy was John Candy.
Camp Candy was John Candy.
Yeah.
What did Steve Guttenberg do? I'm 100% sure he had one of these shows too. Was it Police Academy? Am I just thinking of the Police Academy TV show?
But the Police Academy TV show did not feature him. So, but it was like the Drew Carey show was because he was a comedian. Lisa Ann Walters had a show because she was a comedian. Roseanne, comedian.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Everybody loves Raymond. Like, it really was a thing that was going on. And I think that if Tom Arnold had gotten a TV show, because then, like, the stand-up gets, like, incorporated into it a little bit, right?
Right.
But he jumps to silver screen, to movies, and I think you're right. Like, he never got that chance to, like, cut his teeth and learn. So he's coming in as something like he had been in a couple of movies, but like small things. Like he's a golfer in Coneheads before this, right? Or he has a scene in I don't remember the movie, but like in 9 months. He has a role in 9 months before like the 96 hits. But really, he's known as this comedian who's married to Roseanne Barr, and he's working on the Roseanne show, and he has a couple episodes there. But like, if there had been a Tom Arnold,
he's also a writer on it too, I think.
Yeah, of course, because
he's got a couple of story by credits or something, or somewhere along the line. So like, he's doing some stuff behind the scenes on Roseanne for sure. Maybe he was being annoying there too.
So the last thing
they get divorced.
It does end poorly. This has one of my favorite FAQ questions on IMDb, which is being your own grandpa legal? To which the response is yes. Technically, he is his own step-grandpa, and all of the marriages are legal.
Hell. We didn't really talk about it, but like, I Am My Own Grandpa is also not an original song for this movie. That is a very old,
from 1947.
Way back in the early radio days. Yeah.
1947 is the first, like, recorded
version of it, right?
So so that's stupids. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate my time with it. There were times where I laughed. There's some real inspired acting in it. It's a weird semi-sequel to Animal House. I don't know. National Lampoon's Animal House. Sorry, I don't want to upset Mark Wahlberg or Doug Benson. But yeah, anything else you want to make sure that we mention about this one before we ship it off?
No, but I've finally seen it. So never mind. I was gonna say if any 5-year-olds want to talk about it, but don't do that.
Please, elementary school children who would have mocked me mercilessly had they known I'd never seen the stupids, do not reach out to me, says Sejin. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this excused absence episode of the Say Report. Again, this was recorded back on June 3rd. So, like, if anything crazy happened that we didn't report on it, like, that's why. Because we didn't know it was going to happen yet. If you want to keep the conversation going, though, we'll remember that we watched this movie 12 days ago at the time of this episode's release. So you can find our Discord and talk to us there. Invitations to join the Discord are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Navigate to the bio section. There'll be a link to click, and then you can join the Discord and join in on all the fun that we have there. But if you're not on social media and you want to join the Discord, just send an email to thesayreport@gmail.com. And we can facilitate with an invitation to join the Discord. Or if Discord is too social media for you, which we understand that, we can just communicate via emails. Just send them to thesayreport@gmail.com and we'll read them, we'll respond. The only thing to remember is that if you're sending an email for him, Sejin Sarowick, or me, Devin Decker, just put our name in the subject line, who you're trying to get in touch with, and we'll make sure it's distributed appropriately. But just know, if I read something and I'm like, oh my goodness, Sejin needs to hear about this, there's a good chance I'll talk about it on the show. Any submissions to the Say Report do open themselves up to being discussed in a future episode of the show. That's just an important thing to remember for everything that you do on the internet, right? You put something out there, somebody might talk about it or react to it. It's a real double-edged sword, that old internet there. But without any further ado, thank you so much for joining us for this second part of Tom Arnold's Trilogy from 1996. We look forward to seeing you next episode. And William, please bring us home.
Everybody watch out for the drive bee.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Sejin Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report. And you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.